Hello, and welcome to another fanfiction reading. The fanfiction is called Callisto, Moon of Wigs, and it's actually a short story collection where only one part is out. Why do I know? Because I wrote that fanfiction. Yes, I do write fanfictions too, from time to time, and I hope to update it in a few days. But let's go to the summary. She's cleaning her wigs in the shadow of Jupiter, where everyone is supposed to be sleeping. But the closest moon, Io, isn't such a moon. Very short fanfic about Callisto, because she's awesome and also gets disrespected a lot. Mainly by Ganymede and Europa. Especially Europa. Whoever that genius is, amen to that. Nighttime on Callisto. There was nothing but the dark, since she was currently in Jupiter's shadow. A welcome feeling of cool washed over her, as a few particles of carbon dioxide stopped itching at her already heavily cratered surface. There was nothing that could stop her now from finally combing her wig again. As she rather clumsily removed the lace front, a small part of her wished that Venus, or better, Mars, would be there to give her the tits again, since this kind of wig was new. But she stopped herself. She would soon be back in front of the sun, and then everyone would see her unprepared. They'd make fun of her, especially Europa. She always did. Her natural hair was some of the dust that accumulated in her craters, sorted in invisible spirals that lightly tangled themselves in an afro-like texture. Not many saw her like this, since... She stopped taking her thoughts seriously. Her nightmares can handle whatever thoughts her subconscious wanted her to tell. Callisto! And there was one who knew and didn't make fun of it, and that was Io, whispering out to her. Of course, she would get disturbed by the one guy she was indirectly assigned to take care of. Sighing, she tried waving Io off, but he wouldn't budge, flowing right to her. Io, can you please not? Just for one single night? You should be asleep. She hissed those words. The blonde-haired moon tried to hold his call thin, but had to let them out, albeit in a more quiet manner than usual. At least he knew he shouldn't wake the smaller moons, or stars forbid, Europa. He just frowned a little at the bigger, visibly pissed off moon before becoming more timid, but still eager to talk to her. I just want to say one teeny tiny little thing. Io, your orbit is way closer than mine. You'll have to wake in no time. His eyes were those of one of the smaller moons. She knew she should at least hear him out, and if that was to tire him out and make him finally sleep. She sighed again, rolling her eyes before grabbing her wig and starting to pull out a fine-haired comb. Fine. He already was used to a rather dismissive attitude, and gratefully continued doing his talking point. Wait, whoa, why do you wear fake hair? Your hair's pretty as it. Something in her core felt a little warm at the thought that someone didn't only not comment on it, but actually liked it. However, being the feeling resolved moon she was, she forced this moment down her core, answering neutrally, I can't just go to Venus every time my hair retains its natural structure again. Because you know why we can't just go that far into the old inner solar system. He just looked at her questioningly, not knowing in the slightest what a silk press was. The informal part was over. Now to the emotional part. She swallowed a bit and gritted her teeth before pushing through. Long, straight hair is kinda important to me. And you know how I keep changing my hairstyles rather often? Io nodded and coughed, again, as quietly as he could. She flew to a big box that Io had always seen at least 1,000 times, but then she started folding it in a weird manner that revealed a large pocket in that oversized box. Pulling out 3 different wigs, each more shiny and elegant than the last. Io seemed like she opened a portal to another solar system. They were soon orbiting her in a close race. That's why. Now, please leave me be. I want to be myself. Instead of leaving, Io seemed mesmerized by the wigs in front of him. One was wavy, possibly as long as her stomach. The second was box braided and arranged in a way that reminded him of Europa a little. And the last one was the one she held in her hands, a simple straight-haired wig that went up to her knee, complete with straight-cut bangs that would have covered more of her expressions.
Could I have a wig too?
He realized that he was a little too loud. Fortunately, no one was awake. He continued whispering, but in such an excited way that he almost seemed hyperactive.
I mean, they look really cool. I'd like to have one too.
She'd love to tell him to go get one himself, but she knew that Io was the moon Jupiter had an eye on the most, since he was the closest of all, meaning he was also the closest to his Roche limit. She kept quiet, as she always did, when it got in the way of other moons, especially Io. Other than the smaller moons, Io was the most innocent in all of this. Well, if you want to, I can contact Venus, and the both of you can discuss how you'd like to have it in the next Sun Trophy competition, or when Venus is facing away from the other inner planets.
Venus of all planets?
She knew Io didn't know, and that was a good thing, since it was supposed to be a secret between them that they even knew each other, let alone that he basically became her hairdresser. He would blow up on her so much she wouldn't hear the end of it. Yes, and I swear to the next supernova, do not tell anyone about my wigs or Venus, okay? She felt relieved, only to see Io shocked at the unexpected aggression she spat out. She had gone too far with showing any feelings with anyone, ever. Just as she wanted to tell Io off again, she said something that had shocked her.
Well, my hair's made out of volcanoes. It's nothing to be ashamed about. So you shouldn't be ashamed too. I mean, you can do anything with your hair. A house, a ball, maybe even spaceship.
As appreciative as his comment was, she knew that he couldn't truly be capable of knowing how much emotional value her hair had. Not unless she would tell him, which would never, under any circumstances, happen. She noticed that he was eyeing the braided wig in front of her, looking like he imagined a whole wonderworld with them. She couldn't help but laugh at the thought of having a spaceship-shaped hairdo. Maybe it will even scare some moons off. Well, Io, Thanks for interrupting my brooding. Amused, this smaller, weird yellow moon may have been the closest thing to a brother she had. He had left her orbit thereafter. She neatly packed her wigs onto the hidden fold again and hoped for the best, that Io was understanding enough to not get her in trouble by telling everyone, especially not Europa. She resumed to combing her worn wig, all the while gazing at the outer solar system through a certain Neptunian moon. Notes. Oh God, help me, what have I done? I have no clue if this is good or terrible or something in between. Going on a tangent on why I wrote this. Doesn't matter, don't care. We are like Callisto. It doesn't matter. I wrote this because depending on what you think the parameters for blackness are, I'm half black or I am simply black. And I just wanted to make a story about the afro hair or black hair, whatever you want to call it. Some of the problems that can arise, and basically it's just hair positivity overall. I've seen on the internet some factions, like people that are say, oh, the expression is through wigs and weaves and why should I have my natural hair? It's just the weather is just going to destroy it. While the natural hair people say, no, we should be proud to wear our hair openly. Your wigs stink anyways, and something like that. And to me, it's just, I used to be more natural hair, but now it's just whatever. It's both to me. And I just hope I wrote everything right regarding the hair, because I have never worn a wig. So I have no clue how to describe them. Plus, I do not really do my hair in braids. The most I do is twist them or bind them up. That's everything I do. I'm really not that overzealous person who has a hairstyle each day and looks fabulous all day and does this and does that and everyone adores them and blah 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 blah. So yeah, I really just said this in order to fill the ending. Yeah. So thanks for listening to my own fanfiction. It's probably going to be a little bit of a mess to edit it, because it's been a few weeks since I've spoke a lot. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening or watching, probably listening, and goodbye.